Hi guys. I've been absent the last couple of days, so I'm going to explain to you why. So this is Yoga Challenge Day 25, but I'm also going to cover day 24 whilst I'm talking to you today. So, where do I begin? This yoga challenge is incredible. I mean, I'm on day 25 and already I can feel a huge transformation happening, a big shift in my thinking, and just changes happening all over the place. I'll tell you how it all started. It started last week when I did the Power of Prayer session for you guys. So basically, yeah. So it started with the Power of Prayer. I went, had my shower, sat down. I chose a mantra. For those of you, anyway, I chose a mantra, and it's 45 minutes long. So I sat down on the floor, cross-legged, just had a photo of the person who. So basically, I decided to say a particular prayer for a particular person, in order to kind of shed light and direction in their life, you could say. So I was praying for somebody else, and so I got a picture of that person, put that in front of me, and then I got a picture of like all the people associated with that person, kind of like the person's wife and parents and in-laws, like immediate family, picture of all of them. And I lit a candle, and I started praying. Like, I was just listening to the mantra, and I was just just taking it in. And it ended up with me basically just like sobbing, and all this like emotion just sort of flooding out of nowhere. And then my prayer went from sort of just listening to the mantra to engaging with it, to responding to it, to then back you sort of settling back into it, and allowing the words to really sink in and have some kind of meaning, with me and the situation I was in. So that was Saturday. And then Sunday, then Monday is a very auspicious day. They say it's Shivji's day, so I put on my Shivji mantras. And then on Tuesday I put on my Hanumanji mantras as well. And I'm vegetarian on Monday, Tuesday anyway. And then Wednesday I played the Gayatri mantra, which is a very powerful mantra that you can use and recite. I've used the Gayatri mantra since I was a little girl. My mum taught it to me, and it's just got amazing power in it and strength that you can get from it. So and then obviously on the Wednesday, that was when I did my yoga challenge on the sacral chakra. So as it is, you could tell from that discussion that I was going through some kind of awakening and understanding of the chakras and consciousness and prana and all these things that if you're into this subject, if you're into spirituality and philosophy and theology and humanism and that sort of stuff, you read about it, but it takes a lot of concentration and practice and dedication to feel it. And I don't know, on Wednesday, and I must admit my mood has been like quite miserable as well recently, even though I'm such a positive person. But it was just like I just felt like I needed to hibernate a little bit, and I just felt really caught up in all the different things that have been going through my mind recently, as you've probably seen in the videos, especially in the last couple of weeks. I've not really been myself. I've had a lot going on, thinking about a lot of things. So and then some people would just leave it as just, okay, this is how I'm feeling at the moment. But because I've been focusing so much on the spiritual aspect of what's happening to me, and connecting my mind with my body and my soul, and increasing my awareness of the self and my chakras, and because recently I've started to become slightly more focused on my chakras, on Wednesday that was kind of like the penultimate day where I really just felt like I don't know, just low on energy, didn't want to do anything, didn't really want to talk to anyone, just feeling really teary all the time. And then so that was that. And then yesterday was Thursday, and I saw, so you know, everything happens for a reason. So at the local temple, I saw this advert for Reiki, and it was a free Reiki session. And I mentioned I was going to a wedding at the weekend. So at the wedding, I met these ladies who were also into spirituality and things like that. And they said that they go to this Reiki session. So it was just seemed a bit of a coincidence that I had seen the poster, and then suddenly these ladies said that they go to it and that I should go. And they kind of, you know, briefly mentioned the kind of things that the priest sort of talks about. Anyway, so come Thursday, I was feeling miserable. Okay, I don't know why, just really miserable. And then you know that, and it was the kind of misery where, you know, if you don't do anything about it, you can end up in a depression. So having my tea at the same time. I just made some nice adriki chai, ginger tea. So, you know, the feeling was like depression. And I have gone through depression myself. And it felt as though, although, you know, depression is something, it's a mental health illness, so it never really goes away. But having gone through it, it's made me more conscious of my mind, because I've been there where, you know, things were difficult, and I could see that I was falling into this mode of depression, even though I'm not actually depressed. Like, I'm happy, I've got everything, you know, a person could want in my life at the moment, but still, why this feeling of, like, you know, sort of sadness, or like this heavy cloud, grey cloud. And obviously it's probably to do with all the things that have been bothering me, because I'm so susceptible to my own energy and other people's energies. Clearly other activities have also been affecting my energy, and all of this, you know, kind of me delving into spirituality is making me more aware of it, and realizing how much other people's auras and energies affect mine, and how much they have done in the past. It's just that I wasn't aware of it, I didn't understand it, but now I do. So on Thursday I went to this Reiki session, slightly begrudgingly. Like, I wanted to go, but there was traffic, and I just was like, oh my god, should I go? And you know, so I went there, and rather than him actually doing like Reiki, because it was a room full of people, it was more like a group meditation session. So for about half an hour we sat there, eyes closed, palms to the ceiling, and by the end of the session my palms were pulsing, like seriously pulsing. And every time I had a sneaky urge to open my eyes and peek and see like what's going on, I didn't. I refrained from it, and I could just feel the energy bottling up and increasing. And then but I did feel, you could say, well, the time went very quick. Didn't feel like half an hour. And my mind was obviously going through all these things, which, you know, if I had been meditating at home, I probably would have stopped, I would have opened my eyes, I would have done that. But for some reason, I just kept my eyes shut and I kept going. And yeah, by the end of the meditation session, I just had all these things that had kind of whizzed through my head, but my body felt very physically heavy, right? Now, you know, because I'm going through, you know, going to yoga classes where we're looking at chakras, and then with the Reiki, the priest said it will open up your chakras. And, you know, the thing is, you may feel it there and then. Like, I did shed a few tears in Reiki at the end, but it wasn't, I can't explain it. It wasn't as if, you know, I knew why I was crying. It was just like, it wasn't like, oh, something had happened, or I was reflecting on anything particularly sad that had happened to me. It was more just emotions, just like releasing emotions, good, bad, anxious, scared, you know, all those like positive and negative emotions, just like all mixed together, just coming out in tears. There's just little tears. And then my my hubby wanted to go to our friend's house, because basically I've got a friend who's moved to the area where I live locally, and I've just moved to this area not long ago. So you know, I'm getting to know the area, so I'm in a completely new chapter in my life at the moment. And you know, he was like, let's go. And because my mood was so low, I didn't want to go. I'll be honest, I was just like, oh, you know, like, oh, I look like a tramp, but no, I don't feel like it. And you know, oh, I just wanted to go and curl up in bed, throw the duvet over my head, and just, you know, go to sleep, basically. And that was me really being engrossed in, you know, the mass, the guna of the mass. So luckily my husband was quite persistent, and he was like, no, let's go, let's just get out for a bit, let's do it. So I went to my friend's house, and I'm so glad I did. First of all, it was nice to just talk to someone, even not talking to the, you know, depth of your soul about what's on your mind, but just to, you know, unload a little bit of your worries. You know, even just me saying to her, look, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, I'm fine, but I've just got this feeling of like not feeling fine. And then, you know, I found my friend, she was feeling similar, because obviously she just moved to the area and she was feeling stressed out, and people are expecting her to be really happy and excited. She doesn't want to be happy and excited, and that's how I sometimes feel. You know, like, people expect you to be positive all the time, but sometimes you just don't want to be positive, and you don't want to be happy, you just want to be left alone. And I realised it's okay to feel like that. You know, what could have really escalated into something far worse than it actually was, actually stopped. I stopped, and the situation presented itself that actually I had someone there to talk to. And it made me realise, like, put things back into perspective a bit and realise things aren't that bad at all. But then something else happened, which was... So, in the last couple of weeks, I have talked on 2 occasions, maybe 3 occasions, to either my mum or my hubby about tarot cards. Now, I've only had tarot cards done twice to me. First time was, one lady was sitting on the train opposite me. She told me to pick out a card, and I did, and it was a very sweet, victorious, sort of queen related card, but you know, it was a positive card. And then the second time was, I once organised an event, because I plan events, and there we had a one of my friends who reads tarot cards, and she took 3 cards out on me, and at that time I was going through a journey, and that seemed to come up. But anyway, so turns out my friend, her boyfriend, who she lives with, he reads tarot cards. And the fact that I mentioned tarot cards 2-3 times in the past couple of weeks, but I didn't mention it, like, I haven't gone looking for it at all. Suddenly, for somebody to be able to do it and be there in my path, I'm in the same room as them, it was just, honestly, it was so freaky. It was just like, this is meant to be. So he did my cards. This guy's amazing. Okay, for me, it was just, every card was just spot on. Absolutely spot on. And if you want to get your tarot cards read, I'm sure he'll happily do it with you over Skype if you don't live in the UK. He was good. His cards were good, and he was very good. And every card was bloody accurate, okay? From connecting the mind, the body, the soul, the past, the present, the future, my obstacles. It was just unbelievable. And then, so, right, so had this tarot card reading done. I was expecting it to be something quite brief and quick, but actually he did, you know, like 3 cards, then 9 cards. And it just made me, all of a sudden, everything started connecting into place. I had an experience last night where suddenly I could feel the male side and the female side, the yin, the yang. I could feel it. And suddenly I could relate every injury or trauma I've ever experienced to a part of my body. As that all started just suddenly slipping into place, and I was identifying this problem with that happened, and this physical problem with that happened, and you know, obviously I've started reading a little bit on reflexology, so thinking about, you know, recently reading that has also made me more aware of how in line our feet and our bodies are with everything. Like, it's incredible. So obviously the more I started identifying all my experiences with the different types of aches and pains and feelings and niggles and everything that I've ever experienced in my body has been connected to an experience. And every one of those experiences has affected a chakra. And I've been relating my chakras to my previous experiences a lot recently. And I'm telling you, yesterday, because of the yoga I've been doing, so 1 week my yoga teacher was trying to unblock the root chakra, and then this week it was the sacral chakra, and then in the last yoga session I did with her, she actually used a crystal pendulum on me over my chakras to see if they were, you know, functioning well or not, if there are any blocks, and she picked up on something that I had suspected anyway. So all of that, plus the Reiki, plus you know, the yoga, the praying, the meditating, the tarot cards. Suddenly last night I felt an uncoiling of a serpent in my spine. I felt the energy unwrap, and I felt it travel all the way to my mind. I really did. And it's happened to me before. I think it's happened 2, maximum 3 times before. So I definitely had a spiritual awakening yesterday, and it was incredible. I've woken up with, like, back to being positive, back to being full of energy. Suddenly everything's clearer. It's just the most incredible feeling. And it's all down to me looking within. All the answers are within us. I'm just going to take a moment, as I've just told you this story, because it's a big deal for me. This is coming a long way from where I was and where I'm going, and every experience has shaped me physically and mentally and spiritually, and I can now see it all. And you know, when you think, why am I going through this and that, they all occur to serve a purpose, and I believe that anyway. But with the unraveling, you know, and with this sort of self-healing process that I'm going through, it's just makes you feel in awe, if you know what I mean, of just, you know, yourself, your connection with the world, soul connections I've had with people, you know, up until this point in my life. And just realizing that your soul is with you all the time. It's just that we don't see it, or sometimes we can't access it because it's so blocked by our mind, because the mind is so absorbed in living and what's happening around us. So we just, you know, neglect our soul, and, you know, or we just so concentrate and focus on our body and on our external appearances, and, you know, kind of following the crowd or trying to fit in. It's unbelievable. I mean, the feeling of freedom that I feel at the moment is unbelievable. You know, I was bullied as a teenager, even, you know, in primary school, as a young child. I've had a lot of negative experiences with lots of people in my life, and suddenly to reach a stage where you realise, I'm not going to say too much because, you know, it's not for me to really say about other people or judge, but all I know when it comes to me is that I wish I had this strength from earlier. I wish I had this self-belief that I have now earlier. I would never have had to have gone through half the things I'd gone through, but I'm glad I went through everything I did, because now I feel so much more certain that I'm unbreakable. Because, you know, if your soul is strong and your soul is present, oh my god, I'm getting these vibrations in my head because I'm talking about this, and I'm feeling really, you know, I feel honoured to be sharing this with you. To live in the present and to be aware of who we really are is truly a blessing. And if you, like the way I'm learning to tap into my own energy, and then, you know, and be conscious and aware of that energy around me through people and environments, and if you start to harness that and, you know, start to protect your environment, and, you know, just treat it with that respect and love, it's just amazing what it can do to the quality of your life, because I'm seeing it and experiencing it for myself, and it's real. It really is real. Let me have a sip of my tea. I knew when I was embarking on this 90-day challenge that I was going to change. That's why I've done it. That's why I'm putting myself through this, is to change. And, you know, for a while I felt really almost lonely, because, you know, when you're going through this process of cleansing your chakras and facing up to things and letting things go, it's, you know, it is lonely, because only you know what you've really been through, and only you can make those connections. But I'm more confident, you know, because everything I'm experiencing makes sense, and it's connecting with everything else that I'm experiencing and reading and being taught and told by, you know, it's like my life is just leading me in this natural direction, which, you know, I probably should have been on about 10 years ago, but I had to go through another course to get to this point. And I just feel really fortunate that I'm able to be in a position where I have the time at the moment to be able to go through this process. But I tell you something, I've yearned for this time. I mean, I have craved this time, wanted it. Have you gone through a phase like that, where you know you just need time for yourself? You just need to get to know yourself properly. You just need to work through everything to feel better. That's what this feels like to me. You know, obviously, I mean, earlier this year my husband and I went travelling. We went travelling for 3 months, and that really helped. I mean, that's probably what started this whole process off. So last year, obviously, I began studying yoga in more depth and spirituality and Hinduism, because of the course I'm on, and it's a 2-year course. So and, you know, I am a bookworm, especially when I find a subject I'm interested in. I'm a bit of a geek. So I really, really enjoyed reading those books, and I really just felt like I could relate to Yun Yoga, so to do with learning, because, you know, my whole background has always been to do with learning. You know, I've got 3 degrees in education, because I just love learning myself and I love sharing knowledge. So I definitely felt that I resonated with that, and that sort of higher thinking, which, you know, I've always been interested in, but never really knew how to access sort of that higher thinking. And now I've found a way, and it's been through my own spirituality. So you know, having all those textbooks to read, and the course I'm on is excellent, because they've given me excellent texts, you know, to use as a foundation for my thoughts. And then to go from you know, reading about it, and then, you know, we went traveling, and in traveling I must have spent about 2 solid months just reading about all kinds of things, from how to do just everything from breathing to meditation to, you know, mandalas, and just all kinds of just philosophical thinking. And I was practicing yoga on a regular basis, and that's when I began to feel like the first shift happen. And since I've come back, I've just been, you know, on the same path, just continuing with my course, reading, and following, you know, my instinct as well. And I'm telling you, it's taking me to a place I never thought that I would ever reach, you know. So it's just overwhelming, actually. It's really unbelievable. And you know, I just feel as though, having gone through such a tough time in my own life, I feel as though, you know, I'm lucky that I can share this, because I'm just an ordinary girl. You know, I'm just an ordinary woman, girl, person living on this earth, you know, and I've gone through problems that loads of people go through. And, you know, the end of the road could have come for me. In fact, you know, it did come for me, but it wasn't my time. And that's just a whole other experience, which I'll have to tell you about another time. I don't think now's the time. But, you know, so that was the first sign of this, what was going to come. But I didn't understand it. So it was just like, okay, it must be my imagination. It can't be. And, you know, just kind of carried on, and now here I am again, only now I know what happened 10 years ago was real. And I just feel so grateful that I went through that, and I'm going through this now. And having been where I was, you know, the other reason I'm doing this challenge is not just because I'm, you know, obviously I'm trying to self-heal and learn about myself, but, you know, I want to share this with other people, because so many people suffer from depression, so many people suffer from eating disorders, self-esteem disorders, and, you know, it all stems from, you know, just the environment we live in. And you know, I've been teaching dancing and fitness and working with women in particular, delivering like classes for women, and, you know, in the community or with the local councils and things like that, since 2009. So I've also met loads of women with their different stories. I mean, I've heard stories from one extreme to another. So I just, you know, want to call out to all the women out there who are just, you know, grinding on a daily basis, and, you know, you find it tough. Like, there's so much strength in you. You would not even believe it, because I never knew I had this much strength in me. I never knew that I could think this way. I never thought my life would improve. I never thought my mind and thinking could change, you know, but it's so possible. It really, really is. And I'm literally breaking it down, like, on a real level. You know, some people might think, oh, she's bonkers, but like, crazy K. I used to always get called that. But there's truth to everything I'm saying. Otherwise, I would never have had the guts to come on YouTube and share my thoughts like this. There's reality in it. So, I guess, wow, that's day 24 and 25 of my yoga challenge. It's absolutely incredible. And, yeah, I just want to, I guess, give a little shout out to my loved ones who know I'm doing this challenge, and, you know, who are supporting me. And thanks to those that have been watching the videos, and thanks for your comments and everything. And just continue to watch, share, and, you know, it'd be great to know whether you're going through any kind of change, or, you know, whether you're just watching these for, because obviously some of my sessions that I film are more physically active. It's the physical part of yoga and spirituality, whereas some of them are more philosophical based, such as these ones, and then, you know, some are obviously more health based. So however you're connecting with me, I'd love to hear from you. And I think I'm going to go. I think I've said everything I had to say. I'm going to finish my cup of tea and just take it easy. I've got a yoga class tomorrow all day, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I just got so much going on, but this yoga's just, this positive thinking, this spirituality is just brings you to another plane. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. I love you all loads. So take care and spread the love.